We now come to the sixth most fascinating and final NLSP technique, the last hidden advantage. Reading your customer's mind by responding to eye movements. While reading someone's mind sounds like something a magician or a fortune teller might do, it's actually very scientific and logical. Here's how it works. Our brain operates much like this videotape recorder. It not only records and plays back pictures and sounds, but also feelings. And in watching a customer's eyes, which are connected to the brain, we can often tell which of those three communication channels that person is tuned into at any moment. Here are some ways you can recognize the communication channel your customer is in. When someone is looking up, that person is probably seeing pictures. This means they're thinking and communicating visually. Watch the customer's eyes and listen to the words they use. They're in a visual mode.
Now, this is the way I see it. No, that's not really clear to me. Oh, I don't know. That's pretty hard to picture.
So people whose eyes move upward likely are thinking in pictures. Next, if you see your customer's eyes move back and forth, or down to this side, he's tuned into his audio mode and is probably hearing the words playing in his head. This type of customer might also use words that suggest talking and listening situations. For example,
well, okay, can you tell me about it? Well, sounds okay to me. Okay, I hear you.
So eyes moving back and forth, or down to this side, tell you your customer is listening to the words playing back in his head. And the final position that a person's eyes often move is down to this side. When someone's eyes move down here, they are likely feeling something. They might say something like,
I just don't feel comfortable making a purchase that big right now. I'm afraid it just won't cool my room. I've got a hunch this just might be the right way to go.
So, when eyes move down to this side, that person is likely thinking in terms of their feelings. So there are three channels or modes in which people think and communicate: pictures, sounds, and feelings. But what good is this information to you? Let's look at some of the ways that you can use these eye observations in your selling. First, you must determine whether your customer at that moment is primarily in the visual, sound, or feeling state by careful observation.
Okay, I'd like to take a look at that. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Then, if you've determined your customer is visual, begin using visual words.
So, can you see how this might clearly bring a better return in your investment?
Yeah, I can see where it might be better.
Now, from what you've just seen, does it look like you might be able to use this particular software?
Well, I don't know. Why don't we take another look at it?
Okay.
With visual customers, you can also stress the visual benefits of the product.
Some employees like the look of this anti-glare screen. As you can see, it gives off less glare, which makes it a lot easier on the eyes, especially if you're working with it for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the green CRT screens are the most popular. Most of my corporate clients prefer their clearer image.
Oh, well, I can see what you mean.
And finally, help your visual customer see your product in his or her mind's eye.
You know, all of these units are going to take up quite a chunk of space. Mm. Can you picture where you might put them?
Oh, let's see. I think the best...
But what words do you use to sell to sound-oriented customers? You'll want to use words that are more verbal than visual. So watch their eyes, listen for sound words, then respond with sound-based words.
What's the word with these computerized parts they're putting in? I hear that if even something minor goes wrong, you have to bring it back in. Everything's connected to some microchip.
Well, part of what you've heard is true, but let me tell you the rest of the story on that.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about the suspension system. Is it really as good as I've heard?
Well, I can tell you what I've heard.
Audio customers like to hear what other people say. So if you use testimonials about your product, remember this. People who hear sounds as they think need time to listen to the words playing back in their heads. Allow yourself plenty of time when you talk to these customers.
You said you knew Jack Ames.
Yes, I do.
Then you probably heard. He bought a car a lot like the one you're looking at.
No, I didn't know. I haven't heard from Jack in a while.
He came in about a month ago. He said he hadn't had any problems with the car at all. He was very pleased with it.
Huh.
He talked about a trip he took with his family.
Another way to reach these customers is to get them to listen to the way your product sounds. That is, if you have a product that can appeal to this part of their senses.
You said you'd heard somewhere how quiet these cars are.
Yes.
Then you'll appreciate this. Listen to the way these doors latch. You can barely hear them. Go ahead and start it up and hear how quiet the engine is. Nice, huh?
Remember, customers tend to listen more closely and understand you better when you talk to them on the communication channel they use the most: sound, pictures, or feelings. Finally, let's see how you can communicate with customers who are in a feeling state. Again, watch their eyes and listen to the words they use.
You know, I've had it with the air conditioner we have now. It only half cools the room. The thing's always sweaty. The darn filter's usually gummed up.
Once you've determined your customer is in a feeling state, match their emotions by talking to them in feeling terms. Use words and examples that are based in emotions.
Is that it?
Yes. And as long as you maintain it, it'll be that easy to take care of. Those older units like the one you have now can be really frustrating, can't they?
You're right there.
You can also communicate feelings by telling stories that deal with emotions. For example,
That reminds me of a couple who bought a unit just like this one. When they came in, they were really fed up with their old unit. He was tired of coming home to a blast furnace, and neither one of them felt like cooking when they got home. I think they just sat around all night and sweat. Well,
even using analogies that deal with emotion can appeal to these types of customers.
let me ask you this. Have you ever bought a brand new car?
Well, sure.
Okay, when you got that car, it was covered by a warranty in case anything broke, right?
Right.
But let me ask you, did that warranty cover things like spark plugs, parts you'd need for a tune-up, say front end alignment?
No.
No. But if those things had been covered by a service warranty, that would have made you feel a lot more secure, wouldn't it?
Well, I suppose.
And with air conditioners, you indicated how frustrated you are with your old unit. Well, a service agreement might alleviate some of that tension. You see, our service people come out automatically, and you don't have to be the one to worry if the filter plugs up.
Of course, some people switch from one channel to another. 1 minute they're thinking in sounds, then pictures, then back to feelings.
You know, I can see how that might help. But darn it, it just irritates me when I have to pay extra on something that's brand new.
Obviously, you can't expect to catch every eye movement and match every channel. But by using this technique whenever you can, you'll be responding with one of the fastest and best ways known to build trust and rapport with the customer. So there are 6 steps the superior salespeople use. 6 hidden advantages you can use. Matching or mirroring body movements. Matching tone of voice, volume, speech rate, and patterns or rhythm. Matching mood, especially when handling difficult or hostile customers. Matching with statements of fact and truisms that can bring you and your customer together more quickly. Matching objections by agreeing with the customer to disarm resistance and redirect his point of view. And matching a customer's communication channel by responding to eye movements. Eyes up, customers are thinking in pictures. Eyes moving back and forth or down to this side, they're thinking in sounds. And eyes down to this side, your customers are feeling something.